Hey there, good people of the world. It's the Big Heavy, and I am leaving on a jet plane. Fortunately for me, I do know when I'll be back again. I'll be back about 36 hours after I leave, which is hopefully good news for Mrs. Heavy and the little heavies. But wanted to talk to you today about one-bag travel, specifically for business travelers. And there's a lot of stuff out there about one-bag travel, but most of it's geared towards people that are either doing a digital nomad thing, they're traveling for vacation, or some sort of personal travel. And there's not a lot geared towards those among us who are traveling for business. You may find it surprising based on my low-grade dad jokes and general persona that my employer actually lets me out of the house once in a while. I used to travel quite frequently. I was on the road in excess, some years of 150 days, lots of planes, lots of trains, all that sort of thing.
All right, listen up, everybody. If you all don't quit asking me for stuff, nobody's getting a thing.
These days I don't do as much travel, but I do a lot more international travel and a lot more shorter trips. So one-bag travel is particularly helpful for my style of travel. And I actually think it's pretty relevant and pretty helpful for other people that are doing those sorts of business trips where you're maybe going for a couple or 3 days, you're tired of pulling the rollerboard around, you're tired of dealing with multiple bags. And from a simple philosophical perspective, one-bag travel is exactly as it sounds. It's the goal of traveling with one single bag. So this is my bag that I'm taking on my trip tomorrow. It's actually all loaded up and ready to go. It is in fact packed for my one-night trip. So wanted to give you a little bit of the why of one-bag travel, some of the mindset that's applicable, and I'll show you specifically what I have for my one-bag setup. So I want to give you a couple of caveats before we jump into this. First of all, one-bag travel may not be for everyone. Probably the biggest negative of one-bag travel is that you've got all your stuff for however many days you're traveling on your back. And this is my 24, 36-hour setup. I have one change of clothes in here. I have a set of workout clothes. I have a set of potential casual clothes since I might be taking a little boat trip. But this is probably 18, 20 pounds or so. And I don't mind having that kind of load on my back. I look at it as a way to get in some extra strength training while I'm traveling about the world. But if if you've got some back problems, maybe you just don't like having things on your back, this is not an insignificant weight. And obviously the longer you stay, the more stuff you have, the more that weight is going to go up. So that's one thing to think about. The other caveat I'll give you is everything you'll see in here is obviously my stuff that I travel with. It's all men's clothes. I've never had the opportunity to be a woman. I have never been a woman, so I can't address anything in here that may or may not be relevant for the fair gender. So apologies for that, but hopefully even if you are a woman, you can find some useful tips and tricks in here. So let's start with the why of one-bag travel. And this is relevant whether you're traveling for work or traveling on vacation or whatnot. But the core of the philosophy is that minimizing the stuff you have to carry with you makes for a nicer travel experience. If you want to test this for yourself before you invest any time or effort in one-bag travel, next time you're going on a couple or 3-day trip, if you're usually a rolly bag type person, check the rolly bag. I know that adds some overhead if you're a frequent traveler, but have that checked and then see how it is to get to the airport to navigate around with one bag. I'm going to assume that you have a rolly bag and then you have a backpack or a shoulder bag or something like that with your laptop and that sort of thing. That's essentially what you end up with one-bag travel. You end up with one single bag, and instead of it just having your laptop and kind of office-related stuff, it has everything in it. And there's a variety of bags you can go with. I have about 3 different one-bag setups depending on what I'm doing. This is probably my 1 or 2 night or 3 night in a pinch bag. None of the bags I'm going to show you are sponsored. They're all things I liked and kind of researched and either for fashion or practical reasons ended up with. This is a black Ember bag. I'll put a link to the specific stuff downstairs as usual in case you want to check it out. I forget the exact model number, but I will put that in there. What's cool about this guy is a couple things. Number one, you can carry it as a briefcase. There's handles. There's a shoulder strap option. There's a nice grab handle up here. And there's also backpack straps. These will tuck in behind some flaps, so you can make it more of a covert office style bag, or you can carry it on your back, which I find easier in the airport. And it's just nice in the airport not having something dragging behind you, not having to worry about a wheelie bag, not having it clip your heels, not having to put the handle up and down and all that stuff. To me, at least, it's just very liberating to move through the airport, to move through trains, to be able to roll up and down stairs if you need to, without having to deal with this thing being dragged behind you. The other nice thing about having one single bag is if you fly in a variety of planes, which I do, Obviously on a big old transcon flight, you can stick this in the overhead, there's plenty of room. But if you're working with a CRJ or a regional jet or something like that, where your wheelie will probably have to get gate checked, and then you're doing that, stand with a bunch of other lonely travelers in the jetway waiting for your bag to come out. If you've got one bag like this that you can squeeze into an overhead, you don't have to worry about that. I was doing a lot of regional jet travel at one point, and one bag travel just was a game changer. No more gate checking, no more nonsense, none of that stuff. So again, I'd recommend giving it a try. Try checking your bag, or if you've got a reasonably large backpack and you're doing a one-nighter, throw an extra pair of drawers in there, throw a change of clothes, throw your toiletries in there, and try one bag, see if you like it before you go and start investing in some of the stuff I'm going to show you, which kind of makes life a little easier. The other philosophical thing I'd say with one bag travel is try to the extent possible to bring travel gear that does more than one thing. So using this bag as an example, obviously I've got all my work stuff, I've got my clothing in here. It's ready to go for all my activities I'm going to need them for. But when I get to my destination, I'll take out all my clothing, I'll kind of leave it out in the hotel, and then this bag slims down a little bit. It's not ridiculous as it stands. I've seen people lug around briefcases that are bigger than this, but it's a little bit ungainly. With the clothes out of here, it's a pretty svelte briefcase style bag. So, this guy is my travel bag. He's also my briefcase when I get to my destination, the office. He works as a backpack when I'm schlepping things through the airport, and then I can tuck in the straps, and it makes for a nice and reasonably normal looking briefcase when I'm in the office and doing that sort of thing. And you'll hopefully see some of that dual purpose philosophy as I show you some of my contents. So without further ado, let's get into the bag. And I'll start with my technology. Depending on the trip I'm taking, I usually have two devices. In this case, I'm bringing my laptop and my Remarkable digital notepad. I'll put a link to my review of the Remarkable up there. Sometimes if I'm just going for a one-nighter and I'm not going to be doing a lot of computer stuff, I'll just bring an iPad. That lets me do general office work. It also lets me watch movies and take notes and that sort of thing. If I might be doing more computing heavy tasks, I'll pack this load out, which is the laptop and the Remarkable pad. One thing I will say, whatever bag you're considering, go for something that has quick access to your technology. The first thing I'll do, and I would imagine most people will do when they get on the plane, is they'll open their bag up, take out either their tablet or their laptop, assuming they're going to do a little work on the flight. That's usually what I'm doing. So you want something where you have pretty quick access to those devices. You don't want to have to go traipsing through 50 different pockets. So in this case, the one negative is if I've got these two handles strapped together, I've got to unstrap that in order to get my tech stuff out. But, it adds half a second, so it's not the end of the world. I do like some of my other bags will have that little zipper right on the outside that you can tear open and get to your stuff. And again, I've got a 14-inch MacBook Pro. I've done a review on that, put the link upstairs somewhere. And I've got my Remarkable tablet. So that's the extent of my tech that I will bring on this particular trip. And that's all I've got in this outside pocket. This particular bag has a whole ton of little organizational doodads. I frankly don't use them. And part of the reason for that is I want to be able to move my stuff quickly between one of the three bags I have, depending on what kind of travel I'm doing. Or if I'm going for a really long trip, I want to be able to move my stuff to a rollerboard and not have, 700 things jammed in every little compartment and potentially forget something. So that's kind of the main technology. The other tech stuff I have, again, is out on this outside pocket for quick access. And one of my non-dual purpose things, and I realize I'm already violating my own philosophy, I have these running headphones. They are Aftershok's brand. I think it's worth having something that's single purpose in this particular case for me for two reasons. Number one, I sweat like a cold beer on a humid Louisiana day left outside. So using AirPods or some normal headphone, there's a high risk I'm going to ruin them just through sheer volume of sweat that I produce. Number two, those types of headphones that block road noise around you. Generally, when I'm traveling, I'm ending up running by a major road. I'm running somewhere I'm probably not familiar with. So having the situational awareness, these keep your ears open, is a big boost for me. So that's a case where a single purpose device makes sense for me personally. Other things I've got out here, I've got a pen and a Sharpie. I do leave one of those in pretty much every bag I have just because, you always find yourself needing a pen and end up leaving it somewhere or giving one away. So, every couple or 3 weeks I'll check and just make sure I've got that pen and that Sharpie in there and available. I've got my portable hard drive in here. I've got a little label with my name and phone number on it. So if I leave it somewhere, hopefully a good Samaritan will contact me and reach out. I generally don't shoot video when I'm on the road for work, but I may end up doing some video editing if I have some downtime. So I have all my kind of work in progress video stuff on this little guy. So he's a light addition, so it makes sense to bring with me. I can also back up files or transfer large files if I need to, so that hits that dual purpose mark. Next thing I have, and I'm not 100% sold on this particular bag yet, but I have kind of a tech bag usually. This one is also made by Black Ember, who made this bag. Again, I have no affiliation other than liking their stuff. But the theory behind this one, it has some straps that come out, so you can use it as a little sling bag or use it as a fanny pack. I grew up in an era where fanny packs were decidedly uncool, but apparently the hipsters have decided that it's okay for grown-ass men to wear fanny packs now, so I'll take their word for it. And the thinking there is, occasionally I'll be working and I'll go to a coffee shop, or I'll, want to go somewhere and just do a little bit of light work without bringing my whole bag with me. So I've got all my cords in here, I can stick a phone in here, cables, use it as a wallet, stick my car keys in here, and kind of have this as a little mini bag if I'm going and just, going out to a coffee shop or going to a restaurant where I need to have some tech gear with me. In this bag, I've got my AirPods Pro. I like these in that they work well enough on a plane as noise canceling headphones. I also have a pair of the nice Sonys that do a way better job that I'll bring for international travel where I'm sitting on a plane for 6-7 hours. But anything less than 4 hours, these are good enough. They're small and they make for a pretty good video conference and phone call headphones, so I'll use them for that. I'll use them if I'm staying in a city where I might be walking to an office and want to listen to a podcast or something while I'm on the road. And these do have a feature where they'll allow some ambient noise in. So if you are in that walking in the city scenario, that keeps you a little bit safe. It also has this little portfolio section where I have a few cables. I have one USB-C cable. This works for charging my MacBook, charging my iPad, charging any other USB-C device. It's also a data cable, so if I need to connect things, this will work. And then I have either one or two of these USB multi-cables. So it's got Lightning, USB-C, and mini USB on the end. So I can charge all my other devices, whether it's my iPhone or my various headphones and that sort of thing. Some of these do have their own proprietary adapter, which I hate. The AfterShokz have a proprietary adapter because they have this waterproof connection. You can actually wear these in the shower, which is kind of amusing. But they do tend to last long enough so that I don't need to charge them during a business trip unless it's, a month-long type of trip. I'll also have, if I'm going to be doing any sort of video work, I might have some memory card readers in here. I might have something like that. And I also have my, who makes this, Anker charger. This will actually power my laptop. It's, really small. It's got 2 USB outputs, has enough juice for the MacBook. It'll also charge another USB-C device like a tablet simultaneously, and it has 1 USB plug. So as the world's transitioning to USB-C, this lets me charge 3 devices simultaneously, including my laptop. Super small, super light, way smaller than the MacBook adapter or the other laptop charging adapters that you get, and hits that multi-purpose benchmark. I also have this little Anker magnetic iPhone battery. It attaches to the back of your iPhone with that magical magnetic circle and will give you some power. I've got the newer iPhone. It'll generally last me a day. But again, if I'm doing something international, I'm working late, I've got something weird going on, I find having that little battery boost is a worthwhile addition. And it's kind of one of those things where if you need it, you really need it. If you don't, it's not a huge weight penalty, but sometimes I'll take that out if I'm not planning on using it. So that's the extent of my tech stuff. You can see it's not a ton. That cord bag does take up a lot of room. And I've kind of toyed with the idea of maybe going with just some generic ultralight nylon stuff sack and jamming all my cords in there. That would save me some weight. That would make it a little more flexible to pack, since you kind of jiggle it around until the cords fit flat or fit in a big ball, depending on what you need. But theoretically, I really like this idea of it being a sling bag as well. I'm going to give it a month or two and see if I use it in that capacity. If I don't, I'll go to something different. And that's something else I would suggest to you, is you build out your own one bag setup. Don't be afraid to try things. If they don't work out for you for a month or two, feel free to switch back and try the cheapest alternative first. And if that doesn't work out, then you go for something like this that has a little more cost associated with it. So moving on to clothing, one thing I'll almost always bring with me, and in this case, I'm actually going to the Miami area where it's blazing hot. I'm still bringing this guy. I've got this Patagonia, I think it's either a Houdini or a helium jacket. I'll put a link in the description, but it's a matter of ounces. It weighs less than a pound. It'll stuff into its own pocket, but I'll usually just kind of ball it up and mash it in whatever pocket I've got in my bag. You can see this is a size extra large. It'll stuff down to about the size of my fist. And it's kind of waterproof. It'll add a little bit of extra warmth if you're down at 60 degrees or so, or you get a little wind or something like that. It's great if you're on an airplane and the air conditioner is way too active and you're getting a little cold. It's great if you're caught in a little drizzle. You could use it as a little pillow of sorts, and it essentially adds no weight and a lot of functionality. So I'll almost always throw that in whatever bag I'm taking with me. When you do unravel it, it'll look a little wrinkled, and occasionally I'll get a comment or two on, oh, what happened to your jacket? But after you wear it for about an hour or two, your body heat generally will get most of the wrinkles out. You won't look so ridiculous, and it's highly functional for almost no weight added to the bag. So moving into the main body of the bag, and again, this is the same setup I would take with my other bags. And I'll mention the other two primary one bag travel bags I have. I have a Mystery Ranch 2-day assault pack. I'll use that if I want something that's like a pure backpack type of bag. Generally, I use that more on vacation than if I'm going on a business trip, but it'll work for a 1 or 2 night business trip. And then I have a Peak Design, I forget what they call it. I'll give a link to the exact bag, but it's their purpose-built one bag travel bag. And it's bigger than this. It's probably taller and a little bit wider. I can get 3 or 4 days out of that bag. The one problem with that bag is that it doesn't work very well as a briefcase. It's large enough to look ridiculous. So if all you have in there is a laptop and your bag of cords and stuff, you look like you're going on an Everest expedition when you walk into the office. To alleviate that, I have a few different collapsible backpacks. There's one from Osprey in particular that, folds up to smaller than a fist. It's made of ultralight nylon. Sometimes if I'm worried about looking ridiculous with that giant Peak Designs bag, I'll throw that in. When I get to my destination, I can use that to carry my laptop around and whatever work stuff I need. So moving into the clothing section of the bag, this particular bag, again, there's tons of organizational pockets. I don't really use them. I've got a few things in here. So first off, I've got a pair of sunglasses with me. These are Roca glasses. They seem to go on sale quite often. So if you're interested, I would wait till there's a sale. They are mirrored, so they've got the hater blocker feature. The other thing I like is these are titanium, so they're quite light. And they've got these little magical grippy things on these. So I can use them both to wear for general usage if I'm just walking around, going out in the sun. I can also wear them while running and they don't slip off my face despite, again, my profuse sweating. And I believe that's because of their lightweight and because of this little magical grippy stuff. You clean them up after a run and they work decently well for just going out and about around town. In terms of clothing, I break all my clothing stuff down into 3 simple bags. Again, super easy to move around, super easy when you get home after a trip. You can kind of take all these components out, put the bag away, and then at your leisure deal with laundry or whatnot. For toiletries, I've got this Eagle Creek Sil Nylon toiletry bag. I used to be like every other business traveling robot in the universe and have one of the super cool little Toomey Dob kit things that everyone gets for Christmas from their spouse at some point. Went to this Eagle Creek because it essentially weighs nothing, it's zero bulk, and you just need kind of a big old space to throw all your toiletries in anyway. At least that's worked well for me. And this guy also has 2 little side pouches. So, I'll put my toothbrush on one side so I know where it is. I'll put my razor on the other side. I carry a few Band-Aids. I carry a few Q-tips. Breathe and stop, for real, and give it what you got. And what else do I have in here? I've got a little toothpaste. I generally don't buy travel size stuff. I'll get these from the dentist. Having a family of 5, someone's always getting, one of these. Some of the hotels will have them. So anytime I see one of these little toothpastes, I grab it and have a little bin full of them, and I'll just replace this as I wear them out. If it's summer and I'm going to be running, I'll bring this Gold Bond friction defense stuff, again, just to keep things from getting chafy. Full-size deodorant, because, like I said, I sweat. I've got some nasal medicine for allergy season, a little chapstick. I think this is a free one I got from some hotel somewhere. Got a little clipper kit. Sometimes these will get you in trouble when you're traveling internationally, but it's nail clippers, little scissors, little tweezers. This is a relatively fancy one. Sometimes the cheap ones don't work as well. You can kind of do you. I've got this little pill thing. I think I got it REI in like the discount bin or something. Thankfully, I don't have to take a lot of medicine, but this will let you fill up with a bunch of little pills. Keeps it relatively secure and watertight and relatively small and easy to carry. And then a travel shaving cream. I've thought about doing shaving soap. I've tried to come up with all kinds of solutions because I hate these stupid little cans. They take up a lot of room and you can never quite tell when they're going to run out. But until I figure something better out, this is kind of what I got. And again, I've got my toothbrush on one side, I've got my little Gillette razor on the other side. I normally use a safety razor at home since that's a lot cheaper than the Gillette stuff, but the TSA in its infinite wisdom does not allow us to travel with those. So that's my toilet kit. Next up, I run whenever I'm traveling or do some sort of workout. So I've got this, I think this is also an Eagle Creek Sil Nylon shoe bag. These are size 12, ultra. These, I think I've got my trail running shoes in here. If you don't know what that means, just interpret that as big old clown shoes. So this is about the limit of what this bag will hold. There's lots of instructions on how to sew your own. I'm going to try sewing a few of these, so I have some other ones. I do like the zipper function of this for two reasons. Number one, if your shoes are a little wet due to sweat, due to running in the rain, whatever, it'll keep them from getting the rest of your stuff wet. And number two, if you get some mud or dirt on your shoes, this will generally keep most of that stuff in the bag. I used to just throw my shoes in a laundry bag or an old shopping bag or something like that. But then you'd have dirt and funk getting around in your suitcase and potentially getting on your clothes. So this is one of those items that, single purpose, but well worth the price of admission. Other thing I have in here that was kind of a game changer for one bag travel is this Peak Designs, I guess they call it a packing cube. And again, I'll put the specific name downstairs. But few things are nice about this. Number one, it's this square shape that seems to fit pretty well in every bag I have. It's it's kind of a nice material, so you can smoosh it around a little bit to get in the bag you need. It's got this nice grippy tab, these two grippy tabs, so when you get to where you are, you kind of rip it open. There's all your stuff. I generally don't put my stuff in the drawer when I get to a hotel, but you can open this up, put it out somewhere, and have all your clothes kind of out and visible. The other really nice thing about this is it's got a compression zipper, which I'll try and show you. So this zipper goes all the way around, and you'll see adds a couple or 3 inches of extra to this cube. And the thinking there is you can pack it all up. If I've gotten up to like 5 or 6 days worth of stuff in here. You pack it all up, you zip up the top, and then you can kind of smush it or sit on it or whatever, and then work that compression zipper closed, and you've got it back down to a pretty manageable size. So you've got to be careful, obviously you don't break the thing, but it lets you get a fair amount of clothes in here. With a 7-day loadout, this thing's a pretty tightly packed brick, but it keeps that nice square shape, lets you fit a lot more than you would just leaving clothes out or rolling them or whatever you choose. In terms of clothes on this trip, I've got 1 day of meetings, and then I fly home the next day. I'm going to get a run in, and I potentially am going on a boat trip with someone I work with. So kind of a weird assortment of stuff for this. For the boat trip, where there might be some swimming, I brought some swim trunks. I brought a sun shirt, so that kind of covers me there. And then I brought a pair of just sort of generic hanging out shorts. I didn't bring any other special shoes. I figured that I would wear my running shoes if I need some footwear. So that kind of covers the potential boat/swimming after work activity. For running, I generally have a generic pair of running shorts. I always get the ones with the liners, so you don't have to pack special drawers to go running in. So that saves you a piece of clothing. These guys will dry out relatively quickly. Some people will advocate washing your workout clothes in the sink at your hotel, and there's all sorts of theories on how you do that. I've tried that once or twice, and just, frankly, things are too stinky in my case without a true washing machine wash. So I gave up on that a long time ago for the sake of my fellow humans. And if I'm going on a 4-day trip with 4 runs, I'll bring 4 sets of running clothes. Similar synthetic running top. These guys fold down pretty easily. You can roll up 5 or 6 of these and get them in a bag. These are size extra large. They're not small. In terms of undergarments, I like these synthetic boxer briefs. There's a whole variety of them. I have some from Saks. I have some from Ex Officio. These are Uniqlo. I think they call them Airsim or Airism. Pack super small, again, extra large, so big dude stuff, but way smaller than cotton or something like that. This is the Uniqlo V-neck, like Airism mesh, I think they call it, undershirt. I like these. I like an undershirt. Again, going back to that sweating thing, and sorry to beat a dead horse, but it happens. In terms of clothing, I work in the digital space, so usually I can go pretty casual, t-shirts and jeans type setup. I'll generally, unless I'm going for more than say 4 days, pack one pair of pants, usually a pair of jeans or chinos, or Lululemon makes some interesting men's travel pants, Ministry of Supply. There's a whole bunch of companies kind of doing cool stuff with different materials. So I'll wear those pants on the plane so I don't have to pack my work pants in here. And then I'll generally try and wear the shirt I'm going to wear to work if I'm landing and going directly to the office, or I'll wear a shirt that I can wear later in the week. So you get one set of clothing or 1 day's worth of clothing on your body, minus underwear. I'd usually try not to recycle those. And then you have, plus however many number of days you need in your packing cube. In terms of socks, I'll bring one set of running socks or workout socks for each day I'm working out. If I'm doing some bike stuff at the time I'm traveling, I'll generally bring a pair of tri shorts. If you've never worn those, they're triathlon shorts, so they look like bike shorts, have a little bit less padding, so a little bit easier to pack than traditional cycling shorts. And they work pretty well if you're just going to sit on an exercise bike for up to 2 hours or so versus carrying full cycling shorts with you. In terms of other little clothing tricks, try and bring things that you can wear multiple times. So if you're traveling somewhere and you're in the colder time of year, wear a nice sweater on the day you're traveling that you can wear to the office that day, and then wear that same sweater on your day of departure. Change your undershirt so you feel so fresh and so clean, but you also get 2 wears out of a bulky item, and then that doesn't end up taking up room in your suitcase. Also, for longer trips, a lot of the companies I've worked for, somewhere deep in their travel policy, will have a note that if you're over a certain number of nights, usually it seems to be 5 nights or so, you can use the hotel laundry service. So if you have to go on a 2-week trip, don't immediately assume, hey, I need to pack 2 weeks worth of stuff. I'm going to need some gigantic suitcase. You may be able to get by with 4 or 5 days worth of stuff and then have the hotel cleaning operation do your laundry in the middle of the trip. And it's usually expensive, although sometimes it's quite reasonable if you're in places in Asia or somewhere like that. But they'll take care of everything. It comes back all folded, and there's usually like a 24 or in some cases even 12-hour turnaround. So you can be on your last set of clothes, leave all your dirties for the hotel, go to work and come back and have everything set for you. So that's my one bag travel setup. And this is something that I've tweaked and perfected over the course of probably a couple of years worth of travel. I was using it extensively for about 2 years before the pandemic hit, during which time I really didn't do any travel at all. Now I'm starting to get back and traveling a little bit, and I've tightened up my one bag travel game a little bit. I've tried to make it even smaller. I've tried to use even more compact bags again, so you get that really nice feeling of just having one thing with you in the airport. You've got your hands free. You're not worrying about the rolly behind you. You're not worrying about seeing a set of stairs or having to get in a cab, or if you're in a major urban center, having to drag that thing down a street through the snow, up and down stairs, getting to the subway or whatnot. Just to reiterate, if you're thinking about this, if it kind of seems like something you might be interested in, don't let the perfect setup be the enemy of experimentation. Most of us have a backpack of some sort. Pick some time where you've got a one-night trip and just cram some things in that backpack. You probably have an existing toilet kit that you can throw in the bottom of your backpack. You can get one change of clothes in there. If you want to work out, throw your running clothes in. If you don't have one of these fancy bags, just grab a grocery store bag or something like that, throw your shoes in there, and give it a try. See how it works for you. When you get to your destination, you can take out all your clothes and just use your backpack as a normal office bag, and then you can kind of tweak your setup from there. So whether you're going 1 bag or 20 bags, I wish you safe travels. I wish that all your flights are on time, all your rooms are upgraded, and that all the babies that are seated next to you are sleepy and silent. This is the Big Heavy wishing you safe travels and peace. Ever wonder why every talking head on YouTube asks you to hit the like and subscribe button at the end of their video? You were right, because we're living in a computer simulation. And our benevolent robotic overlords get just a little bit of energy every time you hit that like. So do me, the rest of civilization, and our benevolent robotic overlords a favor. Mash that subscribe, be kind to each other, keep living your simulated dreams.